I'm calling out in front of everybody. There's no secret calls in a private group anywhere. I call the market publicly, and I use the things I teach. And I can trade in front of anybody. You want to put a courtroom in place? I'll fucking trade in front of them too. Okay? I don't give a shit. I can do this stuff. I was wrong back in the 90s because I didn't know the law about risk disclaimers. That's why it drives you nuts that I teach in a demo, because I avoid all that horse shit. That's why my videos have an intro of a risk disclaimer. That's why I tell these young cats on YouTube, they're barking up a tree they don't want to mess with. Oh yeah, I'm making $1 million. I'm living in an apartment. I don't really own a car, but it's all about that millionaire lifestyle. And I try to tell this guy, you need to put risk disclaimers up. But I'm the jerk. Okay, sit back and watch what happens. I've lived this stuff, folks. I know what pitfalls are there. I know how far I can go, and I know what I'm not to do. And it comes to me and they say, oh, why are you doing a demo? Why is it working like I said it was going to work? That's the real question. Why are you worried about me doing it with a live account? I've already proved that it can double the account in a short span of time. My son, with another broker from another clown on YouTube, smoked that small challenge. Ross Cameron doesn't even know that guy, by the way. But apparently they had a competition. Robin's got bitch. Let's go. So anyway, we have, I think, covered everything on my hit list today. Yep, I think I covered it all. So anyway, I had a lot of things on my mind. I wanted to talk, obviously, went out with my wife. She's the boss. Okay, I do have a boss. And unfortunately, she was trapped in the car with me. She was trapped in the car with me. And we were doing 4-hour intervals. Like I would drive for 4 hours and she would drive for 4 hours and vice versa back and forth. So what I was trying to do was I was trying to time it, the market maker in me, time her going to sleep, taking a nap, and I could get on here and jawbone. And obviously, she wasn't having it because she knows me. She knows me, and she knows that I am absolutely 100% balanced. Okay, that is a real thing, and I can swing from euphoric to aggressive, irritable, and then there's never really a middle ground. Being bipolar is it's a very hard thing to do, and I'm never going to put medicine in me because I'm not going to be drugged. I'm not going to do it. So that's why I'm not going to be the mentor for everybody. I'm going to say things that's going to hurt your feelings, but it's still the truth. And I would rather feel clean with my conscience, having been honest and truthful the entire time. And some of you say, this guy, I can't deal with him. That's okay. I can accept that. Wonderful. Go about your business. If you ever want to come back and listen, the stuff's online. You can come and listen to it. It is what it is. But I am the way I am. I was made this way. I used to think it was a disability, like it was a problem. When I stopped looking at it like that and just embraced the fact that I have multiple gears. Okay, I can go hard and fast, and sometimes I have to downshift. Sometimes the downshifting in it is times when I don't want to downshift, but I still want to go, and that creates more of an imbalance. So that's why live streams for me is a very hard thing to do, because if I make myself available to people that are fucking stupid and they come at me with dumb shit, I'm going to let them know. And that will be easy for me to be derailed, and I'll never accomplish what it is I'm trying to do or whatever I'm trying to cover as a topic. So obviously you've seen that couple did on YouTube. I ignored the chat window because I know the trolls would be in there, and I'll have fun with them. But much fun doing that, I will never get through like I did today. I had a whole list of things I wanted to cover, and I did it. But if I was watching the feed on Twitter, or if I was in a room like with other people where they could say something to me, some of the hardline trolls, and I have a troll. Okay, I had one troll that I absolutely sometimes listen to and almost piss myself laughing. I think he is wasting his time doing his ridiculous market commentaries. His name is Simpleton. I guess it's Simpleton, whatever. But this guy, I'm telling you, he is my favorite troll. He has ripped my ass so many times in the past where I've literally almost pissed myself laughing. I've woke my wife up several times listening to him. And whether the guy thinks I'm a fraud, whether he thinks I can trade or not, it's irrelevant to me, because I think sometimes he has comedic gold. Like, this guy is so fucking funny. He's funny. I don't even know if he realizes he's as funny as he is, but his dry humor, I love it. I love it. And everybody else pales to him. Told me, never comes to that level, because he doesn't oversell it. He doesn't live his life trying to troll me. Okay, he just drops his stuff once in a while, and it's just funny shit. It's just funny. It's funny. And do I think the guy can? I don't know. I could care less. But I think when he does whatever he does to try to be funny, when it comes to me, I think it's hilarious. But everybody else has ever done anything in the past, they're just miserable failures. Not even entertaining in the least either. Anyway, I think that's going to be it for today. I covered how I started and what I was trading, how I traded. It's just that simple, folks. I know you're probably looking for some other additions to, some appendage to something so simple. But if the logic isn't on par with the current narrative, no matter what you do, it's going to fail. So I gave you a tip on how you can look at how the moving averages, which is one of the ways I taught on my YouTube channel. Go and look at those old lessons. Those moving averages, I teach to eventually move away from them. So you don't need them initially. They're those training wheels to help you see when that 18 and 40-day moving average is slanting up on the daily chart. It's moving in the same direction, and you're bullish, and there's something above price, old high or relative equal highs. That's the draw on liquidity. Then you have momentum behind you. See, some of you are afraid to pick a fair value gap. You're like, how do I know if it's going to go down to that fair value gap? Well, if it's going to go down to a discount, it's going to drop down into that to go and rebalance an inefficiency. The market participants that know what they're looking for, they're going to be buying in there. If they're not buying inside of a fair value gap below the market when it's bullish, they're going to be buying underneath a short-term low where their sell stops. They're the only two things that happen, folks. There's nothing else that happens. Your indicators don't do shit. Mine weren't doing anything. They were just telling me what was already in the price chart that I couldn't see. So I teach my students, don't lean on that logic of an indicator. But if you understand how to read the narrative, an indicator in the person that is trained under me, you can make indicators work. I know I get a lot of flack from people that get their feelings hurt because I'll tell everybody, trade naked or die. You're not gonna make me put an indicator on my chart anymore. But if I put an indicator on my chart and trade the way I trade now, like, I could literally put settings together. And I've literally thought about doing this, just to troll. I was literally going to come up with a layout with a specific set of indicators and settings and such, and sell the idea publicly on YouTube that this was the method. But really, it would be leaning on the things I teach with price action. And the indicators will, in that instance, they will line up. That's why when you write books and you sell your back hindsight moves, you have the benefit of it already moved. Know the bias before it happened, because in that chart, it's already done. Well, when you know the logic and the narrative before the market prints on that hard right edge, you'll know what those indicators are going to do. And you'll find those settings that match up where in hindsight, it looked, oh, this is easy. This indicator does this. But the indicator isn't doing anything but measuring and compressing and twisting and contorting the data that price has already made available to everyone else. It's beating the data, manipulating it to display something that price itself is already doing. You need an overbought, oversold indicator to determine your overbought, oversold? If you do, you have that mentorship series I've done on 2022 yet. You haven't done it. If you go through the lessons I already put up there, you'll know right away that you don't need an overbought, oversold indicator. you'll know what overbought and oversold is relative to the present market conditions and market structure. So it's a matter of maturity. In the beginning, I was immature, had no idea what I was doing, and I believe that all the high-end traders were having lots of indicators on their charts. And they're just distracting you. If you just look at what it's likely to go to, why should it go there? What day of the week should it try to reach for it? What time of that day, because the economic calendar? Is it going to take stops before it goes there? Or is it going to rebalance before it goes there? Only two things that happen. Or, no, let me go back. That's not incorrect, I.C.T. Let me correct you. The third is it just runs away without you. And that's usually during the economic news event. So there's three outcomes. Either it goes into a fair value gap to rebalance before it goes to draw on liquidity, or it goes down below an old low if you're bullish, or above an old high if you're bearish, then it goes to your draw on liquidity. Or the move at the release time and day, when the report comes out, they reprice immediately and you don't have an option. So there's your three things. Now, generally, the third doesn't happen all the time. It's the least occurrence. So now how can you use the other two? Which one do I do, I.C.T.? Well, does the market have a short-term low that it could run down below and you're bullish? Then you expect that. If there is no close proximity short-term low, but there's a fair value gap, what are you going to reach for? The short-term low that doesn't appear in the chart, or the fair value gap? Hello? Hello? You paying attention? It's not that hard, folks, but you got to go through these boring, long discussions to get to the gems that I tuck away for the lazy never to find.